The Chicago Bears take on the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis in their second preseason game of 2023. Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson put on a show the last 2 days at joint practice, even though Justin Fields, in my personal opinion, and not biased, and I know Tony probably agrees, did a little bit better than Richardson, as expected. We have our expectations of what we want to see from our guys this upcoming Saturday, and we want to hear from you what you're also looking for this Saturday as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside my co-host and good friend, Tony Sapita. Tony, big game ahead for guys fighting for roster spots. What is the depth of this roster, and who are you excited about to keep an eye on to make it?
I'm excited to see Joshua Blackwell. I'm going to keep banging the table for this guy. I know we had him on a couple weeks ago, about a month ago now. He's got the talent, he's got the attitude, and he's got an all-star or Pro Bowl, I guess, personality. And I can't wait to see what he brings to this team.
I also think that he is the next DeAndre Houston Carson. Would you say so, or are you kind of feeling a little different vibes from him? But he's a good special teams guy and a good depth guy.
Yeah, actually, I think that's the perfect description. I think he brings a great, just almost like intangible to this team where he cares. I don't know. He seems like a great locker room guy too. I hope he gets his chance.
Also, very smart guy. Went to Duke, if you did not know that. Very smart guy. Very intelligent. Throw your comments in the video of what you think, and I will start featuring them on the show for you guys. We had a couple comments last time, and we featured them in our last video, so I wanted to put that out there. But let's start with the offense. The big news is that Justin Fields will not play this Saturday against the Colts. He did play both joint practices pretty excessively, and you're probably not going to see him the rest of the preseason because he put on 129 yards and 3 passes for 2 touchdowns. But it's going to be a battle for QB3 in Chicago. We've been talking about, we've been banging the table about it, but PJ Walker has been struggling. It could be a lock with his roster spot, but also his contract. But Peterman and Bagent, it's going to be a competition. Both will be, in the third and fourth quarters, most likely, actually probably sooner, and they have their different strengths and weaknesses. I personally want Tyson to win it, but he is more likely to get stolen from the practice squad as Nathan Peterman. That's why I don't want the Bears to put him on the practice squad. But Tony, what are you thinking for QB3 for Chicago? Are you going with Tyson or are you going with Nathan Peterman?
Yeah, my real talk answer is whoever Justin Fields thinks will help him develop, and whoever will give the defense the best scout team look. Who that is yet, I don't know. Personally, I want Tyson over Peterman. Just exact same reason you said, Nick. I do think he has a better chance of getting stolen. Plus, it's just something different. We all know what Peterman is. We get it. Let's test drive a new car here.
Well, also, Tyson yesterday in 7-on-7s in the red zone went, 9 for 9 with 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Robert Tonyan. I think the other one was to Mercedes Lewis. So he loves his tight ends, which is something that I think Justin Fields still needs to integrate more and Luke Getsy needs to integrate more. But they're testing everything out and they're working out the players. So I would like to see, Nathan Peterman will get picked up. He is a veteran quarterback. He's just a good locker room guy. But like you said, we need something fresh. And I think Tyson kind of brings that. But I like your answer, Tony. And, speaking of that, I want to hit on the running back room, which I know that you're very excited about as well. But who are you excited to see at running back 2? Herbert looks like the lock right now, but who are you excited to see battle for running back 2 between Rashawn Johnson and Deontay Foreman?
It's got Rashawn Johnson. I always have a bias towards the younger guys, the guys that I feel like are Bears for life, I guess, or starting to be or can be Bears for life. Where Deontay Foreman, he's just been on different teams. I don't know. I always have that bias. That is
good fantasy guy.
Yeah. So Rashawn Johnson's got to be my guy. He just churns. I think that's the best way to describe what he does. He keeps those legs moving. It's like what we saw with David Montgomery, in the sense that he will not go down. And that's the beauty of this running back room, I think, is we have a bunch of guys that do that, but I'd like to see the young guy.
I also, building off of that, I think that a lot of people don't realize that no matter who RB3 is, they're still going to get a ton of playing time. These 3 guys are just dynamic. And then Travis Homer and Treston Ebner, I don't know what they're going to do with them. Homer is a great special teams guy, but I haven't seen them really work him in. I don't know what his contract structure is. If we drop him, it's free cap or whatever. But overall, I think that both of these guys are doing a pretty good job of fighting for the roster spot. But for RB3, I'm with you. And one thing that a big call out for, speaking of young guys, let's go to the wide receiver tight end room, is we want to see Tyler Scott, but he's been out the last 2 practices. I don't know what the severity of the injury is, but I haven't heard much other than from when he was at the Titans game, and he hasn't really practiced since at all. So, Tony, who do you want to see boom for the Chicago Bears wide receiver role of people battling for a roster spot?
Yeah, I mean, that little guy, what's his name? DJ Moore. Just kidding. Obviously, he's not going to be playing this weekend, but I do want to see Nasimba Webster. I think I nailed that first name. And Doris Fountain get some run. They were both mentioned making plays on the Twitter timeline during joint practice this week. These guys might not even make the team. However, you never know what you have until you see it. We've seen, obviously, in the league, there are plenty of guys that were either drafted really late or undrafted that turn into stars. Doesn't happen all the time, but you don't know until you put them out there.
Well, I want to go back to Nasimba Webster real quick because he does also fall under special teams. He's a good punt return guy, and I think that a lot of people are missing that. And Velus Jones Jr. and Tyler Scott have not been doing well. Nasimba Webster, I think, could easily sneak onto this roster as our punt returner. So good call out there. I think that also he's a good wide receiver. He had a nice over-the-shoulder catch yesterday, deep from Justin Fields. Looked really good. Quickly going into the offensive line, Tony, they only gave up 2 sacks last week against the Titans, and they were giving up most of them against the 2s and the 3s. So there's a tougher defensive line in Indianapolis coming up. So great test. Any players that you want to see on the offensive line shine from a 1s, 2s, or 3s perspective, because we want to see the depth of this team. That's what I'm excited about. But who are you looking most out for?
Yeah, I'm looking out for Doug Kramer, Hinsdale Central product, meaning he's a Chicago native, right? Just kidding. Of course not. It's the suburbs. He suffered an injury last year, as we all know. So I'd like to see him get a chance for his hometown team. That's the big one I'm watching, at least. I love that guy.
And also, Cody Whitehair went out yesterday, didn't come back to practice. Kramer ran with the 1s most of the day, and he looked pretty good. So your wish might come true, Tony. And I also, now that kind of makes me the concern is that Kramer's the only other center on this roster. I know guards can usually play center, but that's something I also want to look out for is who are they going to sub in when Doug Kramer is done? Because you can't have him playing the whole game. Guy didn't play a whole season last year, so it's a lot on the body. So I want to call that out. Then finally, Tony, let's go into the defense, the monsters of the midway. Few guys that I really am looking out for to see, because cuts are going to start happening over the next couple of weeks. And, I want to see Kindle Vildor, your guy, Josh, and our guy, Joshua Blackwell, Adrian Colbert, and AJ Thomas are all fighting for, the second string DB spots. And really take out Colbert because we need another safety. We need that third safety besides Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker. But also you have Terrell Smith, Tyreek Stevenson. You have a lot of young guys that are pretty much locks on this roster. But who do you want to see battling for those final spots?
Yeah, obviously, we've both mentioned Joshua Blackwell. That's who, that's who we're going to be, as we've said before, banging the table for. Overall, just in general with the DBs, I just like the battle between Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson. Their competition has been like if Magic and Bird were second string DBs on a rebuilding NFL team. It's just poetry in motion. I don't know what it's the most intense battle I've ever followed through Twitter, I think. I don't know if you agree, Nick, or not, but it's been awesome.
I do like it. I think that, it's fun. It's fun that there's a healthy competition. It's not Mitchell Trubisky versus Nick Foles anymore kind of stuff. It's the real deal. We have real players that are going out there and battling for a spot. I know. It's just that
it was good. No, it was good.
It's a sad comparison as Bears fans, but it's fun for us to go out and actually enjoy this team again and enjoy the competition because this team is going to be good. And, games like this is what kind of answers that. Going to the linebackers real quick, Michael Walker and Devon Taylor, 2 new guys that came on the roster this week. They're going to be tested out in the game. And it's good to see what our depth is from an overall perspective. So that's what I'm excited about. But the defensive line, too, is what I'm most excited about. We're going to get into this in a second, Tony. But anything specifically you want to see? I mean, I want to see them going in on, whoever the quarterback is for the Colts. I want to see them ripping it up. I want to see that aggression and progression from last week against the Titans, considering we had 8 sacks. And I want to see Travis Gibson continue to have success because he was quiet at camp this week. But Tony, anything specifically you want to see?
Yeah, so speaking of young guys battling for rosters, not necessarily roster spots, but playing time, the young defensive tackles, Gervin Dexter Sr. and Zach with 2 C's Pickens. 2 C's in his first name, everyone. Don't forget that when you're tweeting. The Bears, low-key, as the kids say, have some defensive line depth, and I can't wait to see how they use it. I think we're going to be just rotate, even in season, we're going to just be rotating defensive linemen in, and it really could help just kind of save everyone's breath, save their stamina, and I can't wait to see it. I'm excited.
So overall, I think what the message from Tony and I for the viewers out there is you're going to see a lot of guys, just going hard. You're going to see a lot, the twos a ton. You're going to find out the depth of this roster. And honestly, our twos might outperform our ones from last year. I'm just putting it out there. I think that this is going to be a lot of fun to watch. And I hate the Colts because of 2006. I just can't stand them. I mean, I respect Peyton Manning as a quarterback, but I want to see the Bears stomp on the Colts. And that's why I'm going, 31-17 Bears. I think that, the quarterbacks are going to be fighting for that final spot. They're going to be throwing dimes down the field. Isaiah Ford's another guy to look out for at the wide receiver position. But I want to see running. I want to see everything put on pace at Lucas Oil Stadium. Tony, what are you thinking for the game?
I'm thinking Bears 20-17. I think it's going to be close. I think the defenses are going to be the stars of this game. And I think also take under 38.5.
Put your money on it. Let's see how you guys do. Tony, I appreciate that prediction. I appreciate you coming on. Tony, any last things that you want to say before we log off?
Let me see. Let me think. Bear down, baby.
That's right. And bear down. Thank you for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside my co-host and good friend, Tony Sapita, and we will see you guys next time.